Hey guys, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. My name is Brandon, if you don't know who I am. In this video, I'm going to be taking you guys through all of the plants in my collection and taking you kind of through like a houseplant tour. Obviously, you can tell by the name of it and you clicked on the link, but yeah, so I have a good mixture, I think, of like Anthurium, Philodendron, Hoya, I have Codex plants. What else? Monstera. I love Monstera. It's that I'm wearing different clothes within the tour, and I got a haircut since initially filming some of the first part of like the houseplant tour, especially my office plants. But yeah, I had to kind of film in multiple parts, but that's okay. Like I'm just getting used to this. This is my first ever YouTube video, so I'm just trying to like learn the reins and kind of like learn what I'm doing with this. And yeah, I'm excited to kind of show you guys my collection. So let's take you through the houseplant tour. I'm just gonna grab my first plant that's gonna be on this tour. So this is my Hoya carnosa. This is actually my first Hoya in my collection that I got about, I think, like 3 or 4 years ago. It's quite bushy and quite long. It's getting crazy. Like I've already made a few propagations too and like shared with like family and friends and stuff, but grows indoors for majority of the year, and then for the summers when it's like nice and warm outside and there's lots of light, I kind of put it outside. It is so heavy, but yeah, I have it in a chunky soil mix, almost like an aeroid mix, and it's been growing in this terracotta pot for probably about since I've had it, so about 4 years. I haven't repotted it since then. And it's never bloomed for me. I'm gonna switch hands because my arms are tired. It's never bloomed for me either, which is crazy because I've had it for 4 years and it's this like mature, I guess, and this lush, but then I have like more juvenile Hoyas that I've had that have bloomed on me. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's an easy bloomer or if it just doesn't, if I haven't been giving it the right conditions to bloom, but yeah, this is the first plant of the tour, my Hoya carnosa. Next up, so I'm going to show my pink princess. So it's not going to be mine any longer, and it's not because I don't like it. I do, it's just, I don't know, I'm trying to make space in my collection for the plants that I absolutely love. And so I'm actually going to be giving this to my mother-in-law. She loves the pink princess, and I get, and I understand why. Like, if you look at that variegation, it's absolutely beautiful, but yeah, I'm going to be giving this one to my mother-in-law to just make space for new ones in my collection, which is totally normal. Like, I try not to, like, I find that when I have too many plants, I start to get really overwhelmed, and it doesn't become enjoyable anymore as a hobby. So I often find myself like buying plants and then like trying to get rid of ones that I no longer like love anymore. So that's going to be one of them that I'm going to be getting rid of. Next is the Anthurium vitarifolium. I got this from North Shore Tropicals 2 years ago. I think I got it when I first moved into this house, which is just over 2 years ago. It came to me in moss, and it's my absolute favorite Anthurium of my entire collection because I just love how like, I don't know, I just love how it drapes over. It actually lives over like right, I'm probably pointing to the wrong direction, but it actually hangs down. I don't know if you saw from the previous frame or whatever, but it hangs down from that macrame hanger over in the corner of my office. And I don't know, I just think it's a stunning plant. It's so easy to care for. Like, it's growing in a chunky aeroid / like tree fern fiber mix. Yeah, I don't know, I love the pot. I love the plant pot combo. Yeah, this is Anthurium vitarifolium. It flowers quite frequently, honestly. Every leaf it flowers for me now, and it's constantly putting out new flowers, and it's currently in its receptive stage, and then it'll start generating pollen because I haven't actually pollinated this with anything. I may collect the pollen and then try and pollinate it with Pallidiflorum that you'll see soon, but yeah, such an easy care Anthurium. If you want to get into Anthuriums and you're a little bit nervous in terms of like making sure that you keep them well watered and well hydrated, this one can take a beating in terms of like underwatering. You can see like the only thing that you'll have to expect when you like underwater these guys is that if there's a new leaf being put out, you'll see like some sort of like mechanical damage that happens to leaves where there's kind of like little rips in them, or they kind of like are super wavy. But I've been trying to keep up on watering with this guy, and I'm gonna hopefully get better leaves, and this is the most recent one that I have, and there's a little bit of damage, but it's for the most part pretty straight. So yeah, this is Anthurium vitarifolium. Okay, so next is my Monstera albo, and I will take you over there to show you because I'm not going to be able to drag it over here, so I will show you that right now. And we have my beautiful Monstera albo. This is the queen of my collection, and if you follow me on Instagram, you can see that I post about her all the time. I think she's absolutely stunning, and I don't know, I'm biased, but there's two plants in here, a mid cut and a top cut, and I am going to be chopping this guy soon. Actually, like I'm going to be chopping it soon. So look out for the video for that. It is potted in leca right now, and it seems to be loving life in leca and on a moss pole, and that's kind of what's giving me these like large mature leaves. I'll see if I can move the tarfolium leaves, but yeah, I love this Monstera albo so much. Yeah, this is her in her glory. Next is my Anthurium crystallinum. I love this Anthurium. This was actually my first ever, was it my first Anthurium? I think it was. My first Anthurium that I still have from like years ago. Again, I got this when I first moved into this house from Tropicateur Plants. I love their plants, and they're stunning plants. I've gotten several plants from them and they're great, but this one does not seem to be doing well for me. So like I said before, I've had this for 2 years and this is the biggest I've ever gotten it. It does have an active, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but is it gonna focus? But there is an active new growth or like a new leaf that's hardening off. So I can't wait to see that harden off. But my problem with this is that every single time I pot it up in a new substrate, which requires me to pot it up in a new substrate and try it, is because every single time I do that, it roots like crazy. I'm like, okay, great. I found something that it likes, and then it rots its roots. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's me that's taking care of it or if it's the actual plant itself. I do have some active roots in here that I can see. So it seems to be liking pond for now, but let's see if it'll continue liking pond. But yeah, I love this plant nonetheless. It's beautiful. I think crystallinums are like a staple when it comes to like Anthuriums. I don't know. I just love them. So yeah, this is Anthurium crystallinum. This is my Phalaenopsis bronze maiden. I absolutely love this orchid, and the reason why I got it is for the silver foliage. So you can see the silver foliage. I don't know if it's gonna pick up nicely on camera, but I absolutely love this orchid. This is my favorite in my collection. I think I have 4. Not all Phalaenopsis, but it's currently growing in leca, and it seems to be liking it really well. And I don't know, this is the first time that I've grown an orchid in leca successfully, so I don't know if it's going to be long term the solution for this, or I'm gonna have to transfer it to something like moss or like bark or something later on. But it seems to be liking it, so I'm just gonna continue growing it until it tells me that it doesn't like it anymore. And these blooms, I'll put a thing up on, or I guess on this side. The blooms for this are so cute. They kind of look like little Patrick stars from SpongeBob. So I'll put a photo or like a video or whatever I have of this. But yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. I love the foliage, and that's kind of why I bought it. I didn't buy this one specifically for the blooms, even though they are really cool and they're very different than your traditional Phalaenopsis blooms. I love the beautiful silver foliage on it. So yeah, this is Phalaenopsis bronze maiden. This is my Philodendron sodiora, I think that's how you say it. So I don't know, sodori, I'm not sure how you say it. And you guys can correct me down in the comments below if you know exactly how to pronounce it. And I'm probably gonna butcher a lot of these names actually for these plants, because I don't know, I look at them, I say, okay, do I like the look of you? Okay, yeah, I get you. I don't necessarily worry about the names or figure out the names. And it's weird because I don't really I've never really said it out loud to anybody either. So this is the first time, but
Yeah, this is, aside from my serpens, I think this is my favorite philodendron. I just love the like, I love the almost like, what is it, watercolor look to the leaves. I don't know, I just think it's absolutely beautiful. And I originally saw Plant Arena. She had these back in the day when I first started getting into the plant hobby. I realized that she had a sodiori and she was growing it like trailing, so that's kind of what I'm doing. I did have one on a moss pole, or like this one I did have it on a moss pole before I chopped it, and it was beautiful and large, but yeah, I just want to try and grow it like trailing to see if I can get it to be as beautiful as hers. But yeah, this is Philodendron sodiori, and I have it growing in leca, so this is my preferred medium. I don't know if you'll be able to see all the roots, but this is my preferred medium, and I have it in this cache pot with the reservoir down at the bottom. I'm going to be doing a whole other video on leca and like how I use it as a substrate and how I prepare it and how I essentially like transition a plant from soil to leca, or like what my process like that looks like. But yeah, look out for another video on that in the coming future. But this is Philodendron sodiori. This is actually one of my favorite plants in my collection right now, or I guess, yeah, it's been my favorite plant in my collection for a while, or like one of them. But this is my Stephania nova. I love how whimsical and like interesting and kind of weird looking it is. This like potato looking stump, and then with that like singular leaf on top. I'll insert a photo or like a video of what it actually looked like back when I first got it last year and I first sprouted it, and it had 3 beautiful leaves on it, but I kind of prefer it with the 1 singular leaf rather than the 3. So yeah, I'm gonna do a whole other video essentially going through my process of like how I take care of Codex plants and things like that in another video. But yeah, this is my Stephania nova. To continue with the Codex theme, I'm gonna show you now. This is my Philanthus mirabilis, and it has this like cute, I'll try and make it, will be able to focus. I don't know how to make it focus, but so sorry if this doesn't focus. Oh, it looks like, yeah, I don't know, but it comes out with these like really pretty like orangey pink leaves, and then they kind of go to like this green color. So yeah, I don't know, I love this little Codex plant. I haven't fully figured out the care for this yet. It seems to, this is the second set of leaves that it's given me, because I had to cut off the first ones because they just got all weird looking, and I don't know if it was right next to one of my Hoyas with flat mites, so I don't know if it also got flat mites at some point. So I chopped it, and then this year it sprouted back another one. So yeah, I still have to figure out the care for this, but I still love it nonetheless. I still think it's really pretty. The last Codex plant in my collection, so this is my Sinangia. I'm not going to try and say the last part of that. I'll put it on the screen exactly what the name is, because I'm gonna butcher it for sure. But essentially it's another Codex plant, and I love it because I've actually noticed the difference in terms of like the growth of the actual Codex itself since I got it last year. But I love it for this like fuzzy, very fuzzy like mint texture and like color to the leaves. That's why I got it, obviously. And I noticed, or like I realized that it was an actual plant that you could get from her plant stories, from one of her postings. So I was like, okay, once I saw that she had it, or once I saw that like Becca had this really cool like fuzzy Codex plant, I was like, okay, I have to have it too. It's so beautiful. So yeah, this is the name I'm gonna put on the screen. This is my Phalaenopsis, starts with an S. Again, I'm not even gonna try and say the name. I'm horrible at trying to pronounce the like botanical names for things, but I think this is actually one of the parents from the Phalaenopsis bronze maiden. Again, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. I could be like going nuts and not actually correct when I say that, but please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I think this is one of the parents of it. I love the pattern on the leaves. It's so beautiful. And the blooms on this are actually so cool too. They're like a really light pink. I'll put a photo up of what exactly the blooms look like for this one. But yeah, this is another orchid that I absolutely love. And I have it growing in moss right now, just in a ceramic pot. All right, now I'm going to be showing my Philodendron El Choco Red. So if you don't know why they're called El Choco Reds, hopefully this is picking up on the camera, but essentially it gets like a really bright red at the back. This is my third time trying to grow a plant like this. I got this one obviously as a cutting, and I did have bigger ones before, but they died off. But this is my third time growing this plant because it can be quite finicky and it kind of like rots its roots, very similar to like the crystallinum that I was talking about before. But it seems to be doing really well in this pond that I have it in, and then on this moss pole that I have it on as well. So yeah, I don't know. I'll keep you guys updated with how the growth is for this guy, but yeah, they're absolutely beautiful once they start maturing, or like once they get larger leaves, and it's starting to get slightly larger leaves like as it's going up the pole. So yeah, this is my Philodendron El Choco Red. This is my Philodendron callosum. I actually found out that this was a plant that you could actually get, and I didn't know that this even existed until I watched Benji Plants, one of his videos like years ago, about like unique house plants that you can have in your collection. And I love it because of the growth pattern on it is so like interesting. I think it's like, it may be a crawler, but I'm not sure. I don't think it's a climber for sure. And the pattern or like the texture on the leaves, I don't know if I'll be able to, hopefully it'll pick up, but the pattern or like the texture on the leaves is very like callus like, and I think that's where it comes, like the name of it comes from, like callosum. But yeah, it's like super thick, and it kind of reminds me of my Anthurium guitarifolium, but obviously like the leaves are slightly like, they're slightly thicker and they have a cool texture to them. But yeah, this is my Philodendron callosum. And then I have this Anthurium Bessier. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I have this Anthurium Bessier AFF or AF. I got this as a 2-leaf cutting, I think last summer in Moss, and I got it shipped to me, and then it immediately just dropped both of its leaves and they just crisped off and died. So then I kind of had to grow it back from like a stump. And I love the like almost like neon veining in the leaves. I think it's so beautiful. I keep it a little bit wetter than usual, and it's in a mixture of tree fern fiber and soil, and it's growing really well in it. It's like growing roots like crazy. But yeah, this one grows quite slow, to be honest. I don't know if that's normal or not for these SCA AFFs, and I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but yeah, I don't know if it's normal, but they grow quite slow. So this hasn't given me a leaf since like, I don't know, maybe like 2 months-ish ago. So yeah, I don't know. I love it though. It's so beautiful. Yeah, this is the Anthurium Bessier AFF, I think. So hopefully I don't drop this. This is my Philodendron Serpens, and I think this is my favorite Philodendron in my collection. Hopefully you can see the texture and like the color of the leaves nicely. But yeah, it's got really fuzzy petioles, and I don't know, I just love the color and the shape of the leaves and like kind of like the pillowiness of them. And I have this potted in leca right now. It's growing roots in leca, and then I have it on a moss pole, which it seems to really be enjoying the moss. And yeah, I don't know, I love this plant. Others have said that these can be really difficult to grow, and maybe they can in soil. I'm not sure. I've never tried it in soil, but to be honest, like my care for it in leca and on a moss pole has been quite easy. So, and it's actually got a new leaf coming in too. So hopefully this is a nice big one. Yeah, this is my Philodendron Serpens. And then lastly, I'm going to be showing you my Philodendron gloriosum, which I have over on the dresser over there, but I can't pick it up and kind of bring it over because it's still quite wobbly. Since the chop that I did, I think about a month ago, it still needs to be growing some roots. So yeah, that's the last one in my office, so I'll take you over and show it now. So this is my Philodendron gloriosum. This was one of my favorite philodendrons, and it is like one of my favorite philodendrons outside of like obviously the Sodiorai, again I'm saying it wrong, and the Serpens. But yeah, this one's so beautiful. Like I love like the big round like velvety leaves, and I love like the striking veins and stuff. And it's growing in this pot of leca right now with a water reservoir at the bottom. pulling up some of the nutrient solution. And if you aren't familiar with what philodendron gloriosums actually are, or like how they actually grow along the like forest floors and stuff. So that's why it's in kind of like a longer pot like that, and it's kind of potted like over to the side or like over to the far side, so that it has room so that it can grow along the top of the leca there. It doesn't grow like these serpents or like other climbing philodendrons or other climbing plants. Yeah, that's just not how they grow in their wild habitat. So that's kind of how they have to grow, and that's how you mature the leaves as well. Okay, so on top of my cabinet, and I guess I'll start here with my cabinet tour, but on top of my cabinet is the Scindapsus pictus exotica, I believe it is. And I have it growing in leca. It's in very low light right now, so I'll need to figure out something to get some more light in here, but that's the cat feeder. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to figure out something to get more light on top of here, because I want to put more plants up here, but yeah, there's just nothing really like I can do right now because there's not a lot of light that comes over here, especially in the summertime. But essentially what I'll do is I will start my tour of inside the actual cabinet, and hopefully the fans won't be too loud in the audio. But essentially what I have here, start at the top here, but what I have here is this is some cuttings of the Hoya chicken farm, and I got this actually in a plant trade with Marnie as one of the Hoyas, and I love it because I saw it on Wild Ferns videos. I've seen her reference her chicken farm a bunch on her videos, and I love large leaf Hoyas, so I saw that Marnie had some available for trade, so we traded some plants for that. This is a Hoya clemensorium, I believe that's the name of it. Yeah, so I have it rooting in pond right now, and there's 3 or 4 cuttings in there. And I just love like how kind of like crusty the leaves look, and like kind of like prehistoric, I don't know, but that's that guy. This is a Cycnices cooperi, so it's actually pushing out new roots new roots and a new growth right now. It's getting pretty big, or they get even larger, but I'll put a photo of what the actual blooms look like on this, because that's actually why I bought it. It's because the blooms are like dark and kind of like a coppery color. But yeah, that's a beautiful orchid. Going along the top here, this is a Hoya Croniana Super Silver, or like silver coin. Or mint coin, I think that's what it is mint coin. And I'll put a picture or like a video up on the side to show you exactly what it looked like when I got it. It was quite small. Like I started it with like a few cuttings, and they kind of just came up to here on this trellis, but now it's starting to fill in this trellis nicely. So yeah, that's this one. This is one of my favorite Hoyas. So, and it's rooted in like a no drainage vessel in pond. Next, this is an Anthurium. I think it's Zara Michelle. Yeah, I think I'll put it exactly what the cross is, and I got this actually as a seed that I had to germinate from one of my friends on Instagram, Philodextrin. So I kind of grew it to this point, and then it loved moss, and then I introduced it to another substrate, and it's starting to yellow the leaves, and it's not growing as nicely, so I'm gonna have to figure out something else with that. This is, I think this is a Hoya Croniana again. Like, I don't know, I think that's the regular version, but I actually got it as a small plant. I'll see if I can find a photo of what I got it, but a friend of mine actually gave this to me 3.5 years ago as a birthday gift, and it came as this like really tiny plant, and I was told that it was called Hoya Courtesy, but then I realized, or someone else realized actually from my Instagram stories, from the blooms and how they looked, that it's not actually a Courtesy. They looked a lot like the Croniana. So I'm assuming that's exactly what it is. Down here, I guess we'll start down here. So this is my Discoria discolor, I think, or Dioscorea discolor, I think that's how you say it. And it's getting pretty lush. It was growing kind of weird leaves at first, or like recently, like over the spring, it's been growing these like really weird leaves, but then it just started pushing out these nicer ones. So I think, I don't know, it just needed a moment to kind of just hang out and fix itself, whatever was going on with it. Or maybe it was like almost going into dormancy when it was pushing out those leaves, so that's probably why it looked kind of weird. But yeah, I'm not sure. I love this plant though, and these can get huge, especially if you let them like go up and like crawl up your walls and stuff. This is an anthurium, and the leaf kind of looks chewed up. I'll see if I can, it's the first new leaf that it came out with ever since repotting. But if I can kneel down, this is an anthurium, I think it's called like Maria Tingo Inverse or something like that. I'll put the name up on the screen, but I got it from Equigenera, and I don't know, I think it's a mixture of Magnificum with something else. I remember Marnie telling me that those were the like parents of this hybrid, but because she has a better idea, and this is actually, I'm going to be trading this specific top cut that I took from this plant with Marnie. So it'll be en route to her soon, as I start seeing new root growth in the tree fern soil that I put it in. But aside from my Anthurium vitarifolium, I think this one's going to be my favorite. And this is an Anthurium King of Spades, or like HU. I got this as an import, I think, I can't remember. I got it early 2024, like maybe early, yeah, it was early spring. So pretty recently, and it came as this that two-leaf plant right there, and then it pushed out this new one, my care, and I can't wait for this to get larger. And I know that they're slow growers, so I'm being very patient with it, but yeah, I can't wait for this to get larger because I love the like super round leaves with the spidery veins. This is a Hoya, I believe Michelle, or maybe I'm saying that wrong. I know I'm definitely saying that wrong, but it has this Hoya is kind of weird because I put it in this really chunky mix, or this really chunky soil mix, and it has a bunch of roots. I don't know if you can see them. Oh, maybe not a bunch, but it has roots. But it's not really doing anything else for me. And the leaves look super chlorotic, and they have these red spots on them, which I posted on Instagram, I think last week, that some of my Hoyas are doing this, including my Hoya chicken farm that's upstairs. But yeah, it's weird. I think it's from inconsistent watering and then like light exposure when it's getting too much light. So I don't know, we'll see. The leaves are still pretty firm, so hopefully that is better. Like hopefully it'll start growing soon. But yeah, I guess I'll do this Monstera. So I think this is a Monstera Brazilian normal. I can't remember the actual name. I got it from a plant friend on Instagram. Her name's Avi. I think her plant handle is She Grows Here. So I got a mid cut, so it's actually pushing out a new leaf right now. And it was in soil when I originally got it, but then I want to grow this in leca. That's just what works best for my monsteras when I grow them. So I'm just rooting it in water right now, and you can look out for a video of me on potting it and putting it into the vase with water. This is an Anthurium. I don't know, I keep getting Doriaki and Silver Blush. I keep getting those two mixed up, so I don't know. I think this is a Silver Blush, but yeah, I'm not sure. But I love the round leaves and like the silver fold, like the bleeding silver veins in it. But I can never seem to keep more than like 2 leaves on it at a time. Like this has 3 right now, but this one's dying off, or it's starting to yellow. And it does have a new one on I don't know if you can see that, but it does have a new one on the way. And it's funny because there's actually like, oh, here I am showing you the plant, but it's too close up. It's got grass growing out of it, which is really funny to me. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with it. And it's been multiple substrates, and it doesn't seem to love really any substrate that I put it in. And this is tree fern fiber and soil mixed together. And it does have some roots, like, it's really hard to do with one hand, but it does have some roots, but yeah, I'm not sure. It doesn't seem to hold on to leaves very well for me. This is my Anthurium luxurians, and I don't know if it's like a Peru or it's a silver version. I've heard that like a lot of Anthuriums actually are silver when they're juvenile, but then they kind of go back to like the green version or like the dark green version of luxurians. So let me know if I'm wrong in the comments, but nonetheless, I love it. I love the kind of like, I don't know what they're called, but I love the bumpy texture and like the thick texture of the leaves. So I'll definitely be doing probably some crosses with this one in the future. So this is my favorite Hoya ever. This is my Hoya Wilbur Graves. I believe it's China. I don't think it's Russia, because I think Russia has the wider leaves and this one kind of has narrower leaves. I don't know, it's weird because you get like ones like that that are still quite wide, and then you get other ones that are quite narrow. So maybe it's a mixture of both, but nonetheless, I love this plant. This is my favorite Hoya ever, and probably will always be my favorite Hoya. And then this is my only alocasia in my collection, and that's Alocasia Dragon's Breath, or I can't remember the actual botanical name for it, but I'll put it on the screen. Yeah, it's potted in leca, and it seems to be loving life. It's pretty root bound, or it's pretty rooted in there already, so yeah, we'll see how big this thing can get. But yeah, I just love the silver foliage, and I love how like striking the foliage gets and how like sharp it looks, kind of like a, I don't know, like daggerish type of thing. So yeah, I love like narrow forms of things, or I love like narrow foliage. So that's that guy. This is, I have the tag here. It says it's, if it'll focus, it says it's a Pappy Lux, or an Anthurium papillon. I'm gonna say that wrong, but Pappy and then luxurians, but I don't know if that's true, because this does not look anything like luxurians, and luxurians has pretty strong traits when you cross it with other plants. So yeah, I could be completely wrong, but I don't know. I love it nonetheless. I wanted something that was a little bit sharper in leaf shape, and then that was kind of like the velvety with the minimal veining. So you know, I love this Anthurium, but I don't think it's a Pappy Lux hybrid. This is one of the last ones. So this is my Hoya New Guinea Ghost. I put a video or like a photo of what it used to look like before. I initially got this as like a 2-leaf cutting, and it grew really well for me, but then it got attacked by not spider mites, flat mites, and it kind of just went downhill from there. So I had to chop it up and kind of start it from fresh, and I posted that video on my TikTok actually, but I kind of had to start it from fresh. And I just looked at it the other day. Let's see if I can. It's already here, and it's already, you're probably not gonna be able to see very well with the reflection, but it's already putting out new roots in here, so it likes the substrate, so that's a good thing. So hopefully I can get this, and I think there's like 4 or 5 different cuttings in there, so hopefully it'll grow to be pretty lush, because I know that they like to branch out and stuff. So yeah, hopefully I'll get a pretty lush plant by next year. I have this little Anthurium baby seedling, which I got as literally a seedling. It came to me with those two tiny leaves, and it was an import, but I think it's a red crystallinum mixed with Doriaki. I could be wrong. I'll double check and I'll make sure I put it on the screen. But yeah, I can't wait for this one to grow, because I love red crystallinum, and I also love like the bleeding silver foliage, or like the veins from Doriaki too. So yeah, can't wait for this one to grow a little bit bigger. And then finally back there you'll see is my Monstera Peru, and right now it's chopped up and put into like a vessel with water to root out. It was doing really well in leca, and I had it in leca, and it was getting pretty long, but then my cat Sam, he got a hold of it and started chewing all the foliage on it. And I know these can be toxic if ingested in large amounts, but he's fine. So I just ended up cutting it and taking the best leaves and then propagating from there. So hopefully I can have a nice full plant of that again. That is a tour of inside my plant cabinet. I'm gonna do a whole other video, I think. eventually talking about like how I converted this into a like an IKEA greenhouse, and like some of the products that I use and that I would recommend for somebody doing it for their first time, or somebody doing it for their, I don't know, 10th time or whatever. But I'll do another video basically talking about all of the different things that I did to mine to make it look the way that I have it, and some of the products that I would recommend if you were starting your own. This is my Australian tree fern, and I actually imported this from Florida. I had to order it last fall, and then it came to me a few weeks ago. But watch out for this one on one of my other videos too, because I repotted it because it was in a small 10-inch pot in a soil that I just didn't really love, and I just wanted to get it into a better setup. It's got some crispy leaves on it, which is fine. It came to me like that, but I'm still keeping them because some of the parts are green and it'll photosynthesize still, but it still has this beautiful leaf, or frond. I think that's what they're called, fronds. And then it's also putting out 2 new stems with fronds on them. I'm not sure if I'm using the right terminology, but it's putting out this one here and then this one right here. And they kind of look, I don't know if it's picking it up on camera, but they kind of look like little fiddleheads. Funny, they're like fuzzy little fiddleheads as they first come out. But yeah, essentially I have this in a chunky soil mix. It's still quite retentive to water, but essentially what I have is I have it in a clear 12-inch pot, which I got from Houseplant Essentials. If you're looking for larger clear pots, like they have the best ones. And then I don't know if I'm able to show you, but I essentially have it in like a wicker basket, but then at the bottom I have it in a taller like clear saucer. And what I do is I have leca down at the bottom, and this was a really good idea that Alice does from You Don't Even Grow Here. She puts leca down at the bottom of her plants so that when she goes away, or if she doesn't want to water as often, she kind of leaves like that leca space down at the bottom of the pot, and then kind of leaves like a water reservoir down at the bottom. So I did that for this because these require a lot of water, and I was watering it every like 1 to 2 days when it wasn't potted up in this situation, but now I can get away with not watering it for a week. So, and I just water it thoroughly once a week and then leave it with a little bit of a water reservoir down at the bottom, and it does really well. Okay, and then next in my living room underneath my TV here, so next is my Maranta Silver Band. It's growing absolutely crazy. It's so bushy right now. I got this from We Pot Plants back in, I believe, the early spring. I can't remember. I got it back when she brought them in stock, and they were kind of like the craze, and I guess all over Canada, because a bunch of us bought them right up as soon as they came in stock. And yeah, I have this in a chunky soil mix, and then I potted it up in a small clear nursery pot. I can see the roots, but it seems to be really liking the spot that it's in right now, and yeah, hopefully it'll continue to grow and get bushier. This is my first orchid. So this is a Phalaenopsis orchid. I don't know what the actual specific name is for it, other than just a regular Phalaenopsis orchid, but I got this from a local grocery store when I first moved into this house about 2 years ago. I've been able to keep it alive ever since, and this is actually the first time that it's bloomed for me after the initial blooms that I got from when I first bought it. But yeah, it's got some like weird mechanical damage that happened to the leaf when it was putting out this leaf, but that's okay. Plants aren't supposed to be perfect, so. And then here I have an Anthurium pallidiflorum, and I have it kind of in my guest bedroom, or in like the spare bedroom, but this is a north-facing window that it gets light from, so it doesn't get too much light, but I don't know, I feel like these don't need a lot of light. I could be wrong, but it seems to be pushing out a new leaf right now, and it pushed out this new leaf in this view, or like in this window, so, which is larger than the other leaves, if you can see. So I don't know, it seems to be liking it. And yeah, I have it potted in a chunky aeroid mixed with tree fern fiber, and then I top it off with sphagnum moss, and then I just have it kind of hanging here, soaking in all of the morning sun that it gets. And then down here, so I have this Anthurium forgetii. I don't know if it's dark form or if it's green form or regular form. I don't know what form it is, but I know it's Anthurium forgetii, and I I love these anthuriums. I always wanted one before I actually got it because I love the like fused sinus that it has. Like it doesn't have like those bunny ears, or it doesn't have it like any kind of lobes on it. I recently was moving this one around and I posted on Instagram on my Instagram stories, but I recently was moving this around, just rearranging all my plants in my office, and accidentally knocked this one off of the shelf and like cut off both of the healthy leaves that were on there. So it was just left with this one for a while, and then it just recently pushed out this one, which this is the first one that it's put out in a while, so that's why it kind of looks all messed up, I think. Like I feel like when they kind of not go dormant, but like when they haven't pushed out new growth in a while, I feel like the new growth that comes out is always wonky and weird and kind of has holes and rips in them. And I don't know, maybe that's just my experience, but I've just noticed that with Anthurium, that when they stop growing for a while, whether it be like, I don't know, the first couple of months of the year when it's really cold in southern Ontario and they kind of just take a break from growing for a little bit, yeah, they just put out like really, really weird looking leaves. So hopefully this isn't consistent moving forward. And then here I have my umbrella plant. I think that's what it's called. I don't know the actual botanical name for it, but this one is pretty sentimental to me because it came to me, or I was gifted it for my birthday one year. I can't remember how long ago, but I was gifted it by my grandmother. It was actually like a small cutting from my great grandmother's plant. So it's really sentimental to me, and I love it so much. And I know it's pretty common, but that's okay. I love this plant so much. And I feel like this is like such like a staple also in like grandma's households, you know what I mean? Like I feel like these are like, I don't know, such an old plant that people that have been in the hobby for years have just collected over the years, and they're just a staple in collections. But yeah, I basically just have it sitting on my kitchen table kind of as like my centerpiece. But yeah, I had to close my blinds right here because it was really hard to actually see the plant because of how dark it is and how bright it is outside. I can't say the name of this and I'm not even going to try, but I'll put it on the screen. But I initially I didn't even know that this plant really existed until I saw Russo Plant Care, Tyler. He posted his on Instagram, and he was posting it like trailing down one of his support poles, and it was potted up with another plant. But I saw it and I was like, wow, I love the dark like fuzzy foliage on it, and I just love how like bushy and beautiful it is. But yeah, this one is so easy to care for and it grows so quickly. Like I got this, I'll put a photo or like a video of what it looked like when I first bought it or like got it in the mail, and then I don't know, like not even a year later it's already like trailing all the way down like that. So yeah, and it's pretty well rooted in pond too. Like I have it in a no drainage vessel pond, and it seems to be really loving that. And I wanted to put it in pond, like some sort of semi-hydro setup, because I know that they require a lot of water and I just wouldn't be able to keep up with it, or I don't know if I'd be able to do it well enough in soil. So, but yeah, this is the results in pond, and it gets relatively lower light here, but it seems to be growing nonetheless. Like it's getting huge. So yeah. So continuing the plant tour out here, I have my booby cactus, which I'm not even going to try and say the name again because it's way too long. I'm going to put it on the screen. But yeah, I have my booby cactus, which I did have in a cute little like booby pot, but I had to transition it to a little bit of a bigger pot because it was getting way too tall for that one and it was starting to knock over. But yeah, I love this. This is I think the only cactus that I have in my collection, but I absolutely love it. And then I have this variegated jade plant, which I didn't even know variegated jades were a thing until I actually saw it at a friend's house a few years back. So as soon as I saw this one on Facebook Marketplace, and sorry, there's a lot of wind right now outside when I'm filming, so hopefully it doesn't pick up. But yeah, I found this one on Facebook Marketplace kind of as like a smaller cutting, so I got it last year, and it's lived outside last summer, and then it's going to live outside. Obviously it's living outside right now this summer, but I just repotted it into this pot this spring, so hopefully being in a bigger pot will make it grow quite large. And then I guess, I don't know if this one's technically a cactus, but it is like a zigzag cactus, I think is like the, not the botanical name of it, and again I'll put the name on the screen. But yeah, this is like the zigzag cactus, and I think this is the only plant of its kind, or like in its genus, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I can't wait for this to branch out and start like cascading down. I find that they look so beautiful when they start to actually like cascade down out of the pot. And I recently just found out actually from Instagram, Marnie, that they actually have like, they actually put out little leaves out of these little like elbow joint things, which is actually so cute. But yeah, this is a really cool one. And then outside in my backyard, like on my back patio, I have my Monstera Thai Constellation out here now. It's gonna live out here for the rest of the summer, I think, and hopefully it'll like the nice light and humidity boost and heat boost. But yeah, this, I don't know, this grows really slow for me, and I really like the Thai Constellation, but I think it grows a little too slow for my liking. And yeah, it's beautiful, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of like something that grows a little bit quicker, to be honest. So we'll see if by the end of the summer, if it hasn't given me at least one leaf by the end of the summer, then I may just look at selling it or getting rid of it. But regardless, it's stunning. It's a stunning plant. And beside the catio, I have these two guys here. So this is the first plant ever, and I apologize if you can hear any ruckus in the background. There's people cutting their grass and stuff, but this is the first plant I think I've ever had and have kept. So it has a lot of sentimental value with me. Like, it came from one of my coworkers that I used to work with as a small cutting, and I've cut this thing so many times and propagated it and given it to friends and stuff. So yeah, I love that jade. And then the last one out here is my Golem jade, which I recently just repotted, which you'll see in a repot video soon. But yeah, I love this guy, and I love that the little leaves, or I don't even know what they're called, but the little leaves are kind of look like little Shrek ears. So yeah, these are the plants outside.
Well, that's it for today's video, guys. I thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it if you made it this far. Again, if you don't follow me on Instagram, or if you're not subscribed, please do so on this YouTube channel, and I'll link my Instagram down below. It's just Brandon on Instagram if you're also interested. But yeah, I really appreciate it if you made it this far, and we'll see you at the next video.